Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tingling Tea. Here at the Tingling Tea, we talk about the creepy and the cryptid, the strange and the supernatural, the weird and the wonderful, and all that is phenomenally freaky. And with me tonight, as always, is my guest host, Miss Annabelle Chimpton.
Hi, Les.
Hi, Annabelle. Oh, what is this?
Well, see, that's the thing I do when you're supposed to bring me back in.
Oh, okay. So that's my cue. Okay, let me do it again. Hold on one second. Let me do it again. Give me a second. Ready?
What's spooking everybody?
Oh! I love it. I wonder what Eddie's is. Let's see. Okay, without further ado, let's bring in our other guest host, Mr. August Eddie Peterson. Oh my goodness.
Oh, are we on? Sorry.
Yeah, we're on. You're supposed to
had pizza.
I
had pizza tonight. I can't stay awake. My body is going into my blood sugar is like.
You know, I've heard that happen.
When is the last time you had pizza?
Oh, it's been months. So my body's like, bread. How do I do bread? How do I do this? I don't know. So
I hope it was worth it.
Oh my God, it was so good. It's my favorite food ever. It is so good.
What kind is your favorite? What is your favorite pizza topping?
I love a margarita pizza. Do you know what a margarita pizza is?
I don't know what a margarita pizza is. Could you explain that to our audience? Because I totally don't know what that is.
They don't necessarily have tomato sauce on it, but they have they can have some chopped tomatoes on it, but it's like just the cheese, and there's usually a couple types of cheese and some tomatoes and some spices on it. It's like really light. It's not heavy with the meat and all the other stuff, but it is so good.
Isn't basil, like fresh basil, usually?
Fresh basil.
Yes, I have
fresh herbs on it. It's so unbelievable. I love a margarita pizza. I love it.
You know, I realized pizza is like the one thing I think during the pandemic that I've just not eaten that often. Like I feel like beforehand, maybe because of in-person events, I ate pizza way more.
I was with you until tonight. Tonight I broke my pizza fast.
Yeah, I love pizza too.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
My favorite toppings on a pizza, honestly, is you know, there is this big debate between what is good as Chicago pizza and a New York pizza.
Yeah.
Because Chicago style is different. And of course, I grew up eating Chicago style. But to me, I love having pepperoni, black olives.
Classic.
Yeah, black olives, and maybe onions on it. Yes.
Wow.
That's what I like on my pizza.
That's so like salty things and a little bit of onion.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes mushroom.
Mushroom.
Mushroom's not a bad choice.
This is an important question to answer.
What?
And you must answer it correctly. What type of crust do you like? Thin crust, thick crust, stuffed crust, Chicago style, Sicilian? What is the crust?
I actually like Sicilian, but I will take a thin crust.
So. The crust is like half the fun.
Yeah. And I have eaten the deep dish with a really thick crust, the one that looks like a pie where you're actually eating a pie. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious.
The first time I had Uno's pizza, they had that, they called it the Chicago style, but it tasted like a pie. Like I was eating a pie. It didn't taste like pizza crust. And
that's what you call it. You call it a pie.
I thought it was the best thing I'd ever eaten in my life. Yeah. But I honestly can take any type of crust, any type of pizza, anyway.
Chicago style it is. Yeah, I'm saying, hey, I know, hey, they do make some good pizza. So anyway, you all, we have a lot to talk about and get to this evening. I don't even know where to begin. We know that this week we have a holiday, which is MLK Day, which is a day of service for everybody. Or that's what they've enacted, a day of service. Now, his actual birthday is on January the 15th, but we celebrated this Monday on January the 18th.
Well, now, do you all? Today, though, we could celebrate it tonight.
We can definitely say happy birthday, MLK Jr. And I want to know, do you all actually do a day of service? Do you actually go out and do something for the community on his birthday, or do you just take it as a natural holiday?
I've done both before, but I kind of like to go out and clean my community. Do things like that I've seen people do in recent years, which is like clean up. I live near a river, like clean up the shore of the river, or go for bring a bag along and something to pick up trash with, or something like that. I like my community to be sparkling clean, and I like to contribute to that.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll be working at least 3 years to clean up this neighborhood. But yeah, believe it or not, I did today. I went out there with my little thing and went out and cleaned up the street, at least as far as I could. And at some point I just was like, I just can't. I don't know what it is about my community, but they do not, having a clean neighborhood and picking up trash and stuff like that is just kind of unheard of here. I don't understand what that's about.
We have a massive push in Portland that's called Detrash Portland. And I think every weekend they go out and they just get trash bags full, like tons of trash bags full of stuff. But I feel like it looks the same almost whether or not we pick it up sometimes, which is a very frustrating experience if you've ever cleaned something and ran into that.
Yeah,
so
they're not just getting rid of the white trash. That's not what that is. I thought that's what it was.
They're white trash bags. So, I've seen the pictures. So.
Trash Portland. Let me tell you.
Oh my goodness!
We're about to detrash the White House too. So that's
definitely it. That we're definitely doing that. Well, anyway, I wanted to move on because you all know that the last time when we were talking about my hometown, I was telling you about, James Earl Ray, who was from Alton, Illinois, of course, who was the one who assassinated and murdered Martin Luther King. And it's very interesting because I don't know what the community actually does, like a little revisit of who this man is, what he did, how he changed the course of the world by doing what he did. But there is all this suspicion that he did not act alone, that he was paid by our government to do this hit. Because if you notice, when he got arrested, he totally is nonplussed about the whole thing. But there is like actual, in my hometown, this is where he used to live. This is what he looked like. He was a little kid, just a normal guy who had been arrested, a small town guy who had been arrested for a couple of times. And then he decides that he's going to get drunk, drive all the way to Memphis, and then take out, Martin Luther King. Yeah, exactly. So just very strange. But I also wanted to show you something that they found not too long ago, that this is in Martin Luther King's childhood home. And apparently they've captured ghosts on the outside of the home. And this is one of the pictures that somebody captured of going into the house, to do it. Yeah. Now, I doubt very seriously it's his ghost, but it's very interesting that I think probably the energy that is emitted there is probably bringing about some kind of paranormal attention.
I would love to go there. I didn't even know about this. I would love to go there and visit.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there were no ghosts, I would still go there and visit.
Well, exactly, to see where this man was raised. And I believe that his house was turned into a church, because his father was a pastor, I believe, too. So I'm not really quite sure. Don't take me for that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, very, very, very interesting. But Eddie, you have some very interesting news tonight. I'm very excited to hear what your update is on film tonight and what's been going on as far as the films are concerned.
Sure. Well, thank you. So my topic, as we all were experiencing what was going on at the Capitol, and how frightening that was, how the imagery was so horrific. They keep playing it on the news over and over again. It is really something that really strikes at our sense of security, our sense of faith in our systems. And I think it's really something that the horror genre in particular has addressed over many, many years. Now, we've had a lot of times in the history of cinema, we've had a lot of times where movies have been a reflection of the sort of anxiety and the craziness that people are feeling at any particular time about things like war and injustice. For example, The Crazies, the George Romero movie, was about the Vietnam War and Vietnam War anxieties. Candyman, that we talked about just last week, was about racial and socioeconomic things that the company was going through. And when you look at when you watch Candyman and to the end, it really talks about the sins of our fathers and the slavery that was part of America's history, and how we're still trying to grapple with that to this day. Another example is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That was done during the Cold War, when people had tons of anxieties about the spread of brainwashing and tactics of McCarthyism that was used at that time. So they've really used this in a variety of different ways. And so I got really thinking about what are some examples of movies that sort of reflect what we're seeing today, and in today's just imagery that we're being hounded by, that is so difficult to deal with. And so I was thinking about, we have examples of horror movies and other movies where we have had, the symbols of our democracy taken down and replaced, and the faith that we put into these symbols just tarnished. So some examples that I come up with are like, and these may seem cheesy, but it's true, Superman 2. I remember seeing Superman 2 for the first time, and when Zod goes in and takes over, and the president of the United States gives control of the U.S. over to Zod, I remember thinking that was like insane. I could not imagine something worse. Like, we are doomed. There's where do you go from here when you don't have those security?
And he kneeled down and gave it to him. He kneeled down. Everybody, it just made everybody so outraged, because we were such a patriotic country, and to have this alien come in and take over, it was just like, it made you just really just want the hero, which was Superman, to come in and just save the day.
I totally forgot about that scene.
Yeah. Do you remember it now? I mean, how did you feel when you saw that?
Well, it's been so long that I don't know if I could even recall the feelings, but just like, it kind of reminds me of Mars Attack or something.
Mars Attack was my second example. So
okay. Sorry, I jumped ahead of you.
That's all right. So Jack Nicholson plays the president in Mars Attacks, and Jack Nicholson gets killed by the aliens.
Yep.
Quite easily, if I remember.
Yep.
No problem. And then of course we have the, other movies like White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen and Independence Day. All of these things take those symbols, those incredible symbols of the Capitol and DC, and they sort of they decimate them. They quite literally blow them up in front of you, so that you're left thinking, well, what now? How do we defend ourselves now? And that's that movies like that tend to reflect the anxiety that people are going through when they see imagery like we're seeing today. And so the three movies, I have three movies that I want to talk about. These movies were things that I think were really critical to sort of the reflection of what was going on in society at the particular time. And the first one is The Manchurian Candidate, as you just pulled up, Les. So The Manchurian Candidate was really about a former prisoner of war that is brainwashed as an unwitting assassin for an international communist conspiracy. And this person is sort of elevated into the world of society to assassinate the president and other members of the political party. And first of all, it had a fantastic cast. If you're looking at this, Angela Lansbury is there, Frank Sinatra is there. I mean, what an incredible cast. This is the 60s version, not the one that they redid with Denzel Washington recently, although you'll get equally as fantastic movie making. So The Manchurian Candidate is one of those movies that takes the institution and what you feel about the institution, and you inherently, probably without consciously acknowledging this, you just feel comforted by it in almost a parental way. You feel like these people are in charge and they will take care of you. And this movie in the 60s was one of those movies that was first to sort of very blatantly attack that which we hold most dear when it comes to the what we think of our country and the norms that we there you see Angela Lansbury taking care of her. At that point, it's her son. So why don't we try the trailer, and then we'll talk about the trailer when we're done.
All righty.
Here it comes. Totally hilarious. I love the 60s.
It said if you came in late, you didn't know what the movie was all about. In other words, bring your ass on time.
Or else.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously.
They must have been having problems with people coming in late to movies. I don't know why they put that in the
Was
trailer.
this before the 30 minutes of trailers or after the 30 minutes of trailers had started?
I think this is way, way before, like years and years before the trailers came up.
Because we all know now you have 30 minutes of padding
Of course.
the start of the movie.
We all know that. But obviously they put that in there for a reason because people were running late for shows. So they basically they started doing trailers prior to that because they gave people the opportunity to be there on time to see it. And still people are late.
It is true. It is true. But this is a great example. By the way, did you see Janet Leigh?
Yes. Yes. She looks great. She looks great in that.
Yes, that looks very close to Psycho, actually.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has been is one of the most intriguing movies to watch, and some people call it like suspense, or it sort of rides the genre between horror and other things. I think it's horror because it takes ultimately horror, the genre horror, takes what we believe is our securities and our abilities to defend ourselves, and it removes that ability so that it's sort of the raw instinctual, us versus them. It's up to us. It's not up to anyone else to overcome this challenge. And this movie really does bring that home like I've never seen before. And if you haven't seen it, have either of you seen this?
I have.
And do you remember your reaction to it?
Yeah, I was surprised because this was the first time that I had ever seen a twist such as that in a film. So it was surprising. Now you see this is very common now.
That's true.
Yeah. But at the time, it was unprecedented. So you just were like, wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. Very, 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 very good movie.
Right. And it's really about someone that unwittingly sneaks in, creates this cancer in the in our political system, and very quickly it starts to take out the powerful people. So with that same theme, we're going to move forward to our next movie, and our next movie is the third of a series, and it's definitely a horror movie. It's the Omen horror movie. Who has seen the Omen series? You have, Les? Annabelle, yes. I am so disappointed in you. The Omen series is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It made chanting in Latin really popular.
and music that goes Dominos,
Sanctus, Dominus. Like once you hear that, everybody freaks out, and Satan is there. So it's totally worth seeing it just for the soundtrack.
You had me at Latin, so
just a bunch of choral members singing Latin. It's hilarious. So, but these are fantastic movies. It's not like there's like Omen 1, 2, and 3, obviously, and it follows the story of this child, Damien. Now, Damien is the Antichrist, right? So, and he's brought up in a political, powerful family, and very influential. The father is a CEO, and very, I think he's a senator, and it follows this family as they begin to realize that their son is the Antichrist. And by the way, it's fantastic acting as well. Gregory Peck is in it. I mean, it's like fantastic. Yeah. So he plays the father. So in Omen 3, which is what I wanted to talk about, Omen 1 and 2 talk about the family and the how the family is dealing and grappling with this challenge of their son being the Antichrist, and all these people are dying around them, and trying to figure that out. Omen 3 really goes into the world of the son has now grown up, and the son is now someone that, in the form of Sam Neill,
that's running for the role. That's running for Donald Trump.
That could be a Donald Trump, because he's a powerful CEO. He wants to run for president. He has these instincts. He has the charm. He has the charisma. He
looks like a Kennedy. He looks like a Kennedy, of course. Right. So that there's a lot about him that makes him look attractive, and a candidate to become a president and a world leader.
That's exactly right. So this is really, I wanted to talk about the third installment, because this is really when it gets most directly into talking about the threat against the U.S. And again, you can see we're a decade after the previous movie that we just talked about. So things are reflective of that era, but it's the same fear that this is playing on. It's the same ultimately, if this person gets into power, everything will be destroyed. Fear that you talk about. Les, do you have any thoughts about this particular series when you watched it?
I think that this came out just at the same time that there was a series of books that came out, and of course the Omen books that came out. But there was, at this time, it was a heightened sense of apocalyptic world, end times. There were books that were being released about the end days, and so people were very hyped up on this. And so when this came out, I remember we actually went to the movie theater to go see this. We went to the drive-in theater to go see this. And I knew that, Damien had grown up and that he was going to become president and stuff like that. But I had read the series of books, but I could not believe. Now, this is one of my favorite actors, and now I'm so glad that Jurassic Park has completely changed my mind about who he was, because there is a scene in this film where he does something to this woman who is a potential love interest that completely was a little bit too mature for me at that time.
Yeah.
And but he was evil. He was evil, but he was so good in this role. He was so good in this role. So yes, it was terrifying because at the time, that's what people believed in. They believed that we were living in the last days. A lot of people still believe that. So I think that this is probably something that is on course to how society feels today.
I agree, and that's one of the reasons why I chose this, is that a lot of people have these feelings toward where we are with our government, right? A lot of people feel as though we're at end times when it comes to the U.S. democracy, and it doesn't matter, honestly, what side of the political spectrum you're on. Everybody seems to feel that way about the other side in our Democratic and Republican worlds. So this particular movie shows how the other thing that I think is interesting and how it sort of mimics what's going on with Trump is that it takes someone who's a fantastic media personality, and it's the ability to utilize this charisma in ways that that people like, are attracted to, and can definitely follow, even if you don't know, and certainly you know as the audience member, but everyone else in this movie doesn't know that this is the Antichrist. So you're watching horror as everybody sort of follows this person and is taken with this person. So it's a very interesting movie to watch in this particular moment.
And I will say that this is the first time that that an American audience was introduced to Sam Neill. This was the beginning of his career. Nobody had really seen him before. He was perfectly cast for this film, and as an outstanding actor. Would you like to see the trailer for that one?
Roll it.
All right, let's look at the trailer for that.
All right, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is thanks to our friends who do Scream trailers.
In 1976, the birth of evil was foretold in The Omen. In 1978, a terrifying prophecy was fulfilled in Damien, Omen 2. And now, you will witness the ultimate challenge to the future of mankind, as the trinity of living terror is completed in the final conflict.
Yes, Mr. President. I've just appointed Mr. Damien Thorne as our new ambassador to the court of St. James.
Damien Thorne is 32, attractive, brilliant, charismatic. To the modern world, he brings a purpose, a vision, a destiny. He's one step away from the most important position on Earth.
Disciples of the Watch, I stand before you in the name of the one who is cast out from heaven, but is alive in me.
The power of evil is no longer in the hands of a child. Heed the warning. Prepare for the final conflict, the concluding chapter of the Omen trilogy.
Well,
there you go.
You heard the Dominus, didn't you? The Dominus, the Latin was all in it.
I'm into it.
It's so good. Honestly, Annabelle, I think if you watch the series, like 1, 2, and 3, it will be so good. You will really, really like it. Yeah. It's definitely something that mimics. This is one of my favorite scenes. It scared the heck out of me. It mimics what we've seen in the last 4 years, and I finally want to go to a movie that actually mimics what we've seen recently, and that's the anxiety that everybody has had about our elections, right? As we go into an election year and everybody votes, and now there's conspiracies about the voting outcomes and everything. We want to talk about the final movie, which really focuses on The Purge, right? And the
Purge.
That's right. Now, The Purge is really unabashedly a political statement, right? And it's about how a system run by the affluent for the affluent sort of perpetuates itself and demonizes the poor and minority cultures and different subgroups like that. In a way that is sort of broadcast and entertaining to some people.
Yeah, and they get cool masks and outfits too.
Yes, and isn't that entertaining? But really, it's something that is sanctioned by the government. A particular moment where we can just have no rules at all, and if we want to kill people, we can. So, and the affluent have enough money and means to protect themselves, and the people that don't are, out to fend for themselves. So I wanted to point this out because number one, it's very recent, and number two, it really does. This is an example of how horror reflects the anxiety that is going on in our culture and can really be a commentary on that at any particular moment. And I'm not sure, Les, do we have time to see the trailer on this?
Yeah, we can pull it up real quick.
All right. We're running out of time, but I want to make sure that people see this trailer because it's so well done. It's so well produced.
Played a lot of Purge games this evening. We have just one more. It's called Mommy's Choice. Which one of you will survive this year's Purge?
The soul of our country is at stake. The Purge targets the poor and the innocent.
The senator's going to win. She's going to make real changes, too.
It is a night that is defining our country.
It's time to do something about that, Senator.
The Purge has to come to an end.
You take a lot of risks, Senator.
I have to. I was the only one in my family to survive. What made you apply for this position?
I almost did something on Purge night some years back. I want this night gone.
I want men in all these rooms. We got eyes and ears on everything.
All right, let's begin.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual Purge. At the siren, all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 hours. Your government thanks you for your participation.
Someone betrayed us. This is not a drill. We are on our own. We have one goal right now. Survival.
Senator, come with us.
You gentlemen understand what's at stake here. Maybe it's our duty to help protect her.
Here they come.
Blessed be America for letting us purge and cleanse our souls. Join me as we eliminate evil. Purge and purify. Purge and purify.
Well, there you go. So you saw themes of the meshing of sort of Christianity and politics, and you actually saw political figures running for their lives, very similar to the imagery that we saw just last week. So I thought that was a particularly representative horror movie of the horrors that we have all experienced over the past week.
I'm pretty sure they had a promo maybe like 2 years ago or so for their movie The First Purge. Mm-hmm. That was a picture of someone with one of these masks, but in a blank red hat. and they called it The First Purge. And that was the movie producers. So I think that might have been their last one, was like they did a prequel.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a scary similarity to the Today.
It is. So I wanted to point that out. There is, I mean, I haven't seen that image, but that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about, when we as a society get rid of those norms and start not respecting each other, paying attention to, those rules of law. And when we start to ignore that as a group, and we start to literally get violent with each other, and that's unfortunately what we've seen the past week.
Yeah, that's a series I would recommend. I've watched all of the movies.
Yeah.
I think they have interesting themes, but I definitely put them in more of like a popcorn horror, cool outfits bucket. I know I keep saying that, but I feel like part of the fun was like all the interesting ways that people are dressing up and killing people. And
oh, absolutely. And that's part of the fun of and entertainment of horror, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the cool ways that you're going to see people die? And
yeah, it's like, how cool is this going to be if I put a machine gun on top of a ambulance or something?
Totally. And that's part of the fun of horror movies, where you just there is that popcorn aspect, but underneath it's actually linking on to some common themes, whether the directors do this consciously or not. They're certainly affected by the anxiety that we see within our world and our nation at any particular time. So that was really what I wanted to talk about tonight. Thank you for listening.
Those are some really good movies. I think that they're very typical. I guess, it's some, art imitates nature, or nature imitates art in some way. It's very interesting. And I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's using this type of, not to say anything against what has been done creatively, but there are people that are using this as a reference to, possibly egg them on to do some of the things that we saw last weekend. So very sad to say.
Probably. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see. Probably the next year, we'll be seeing other movies that are going to come out as a reflection of the impact of the pandemic, probably the impact of Black Lives Matter. I mean, we've seen, the Jordan Peele movies come out as an impact of, reflection on some of this Black Lives Matter movement that we've seen. So that's the sort of thing that I'm looking for.
Just any protest that is happening right now, of any type of injustice, people are now speaking up and everything. It's just becoming a little bit more prevalent in our society to do so. And it's because of this last presidency and the 4 years that were here, what it unearthed. It unearthed a lot of ugly things about America, essentially. So, but Annabelle, you actually did play a game this weekend. And I'm really excited to know this, is that you told us that you wanted us to, you invited August, Eddie, and I to actually take part in this game, or to actually look at some of the footage, and we were terrified, but you actually played the game this weekend. So the game that you played
is Darkwood.
Darkwood.
So this game is actually one that I found sitting in my collection of video game keys that I owned, but I didn't know I owned it.
Oh my goodness.
They're just sitting around looking at old games, and you're like, oh, wait a second, this exists.
It's bad, okay? I have months of content for this section that's I'm probably not going to spend a penny for.
Wow.
Another penny for. So I came across this game, and the reviews were really high. So usually if I'm looking for one, I don't watch a trailer, but if I see really high reviews, then I'm in. I'm clicking, I'm going to go for it.
So can we look at the trailer and see what it's about?
Let's watch the trailer. So a quick recap before we go there. It's a roguelike game. So the concept is that every time you start anew, it's going to be a little different. You're going to have a different loadout of abilities and weapons that you might come across and challenges that you might have to do. And the whole concept, I think, is to get out of the forest that you start in.
Okay. Forest. You had me at forest. That was enough to make me terrified. So let's watch this footage.
Znikąd już nie ma ratunku. Znikąd już nie ma pomocy. Czarny mnie pociągu wozi w głąb przepaścistej nocy. Zanurzam się w ciemnym tunel. Czym prędzej tak dalej. Każda sekunda mnie boli. I każde wspomnienie
Okay.
Oh.
So I'd like to really talk to some of our Facebook audience out there. Have you ever played this game? Have you seen it? They're interesting enough that it is from a third person view or a third point of view, and it's overhead.
Yeah,
so how do you actually play the game where you're looking overhead at your character?
So I agree with you. That was actually kind of weird to me as a horror game, because I feel like a lot of horror games kind of take advantage of a first person perspective where your vision is cleared. And I'm like, can this really be that scary if I'm looking top down at my person walking around? And the answer is yes, it can.
What I want to know desperately is, do they play that song the entire time?
No, I've never heard that song. I was hearing that and I'm like, this is an interesting take on the trailer.
Well, obviously, the game is created within the Japanese market. Do we know who created this game? Or who...
I don't think it's created in the Japanese market after playing it. It's made by Acid something games, and I don't think it's like a big studio. I think this is kind of like, it feels kind of like a breakout piece to me. I could be wrong on that, but the feeling of dread that I had in this game of not wanting to like leave what I felt was a safe space I had created is immeasurable. It's the same feeling I had about having to go into the dark building in Phasmophobia.
Oh gosh. Okay. We actually have some footage of you playing this.
Yes.
So let's show our audience some of this footage.
Yep. So this is recorded live on Twitch, which we are doing every week. So you can tune in at my handle or at Cliff Dive Productions, which will have the same footage hosted, and play these games live. And it's a fun experience, and it's horrifying.
Are we playing with audio on or with audio off?
Audio on.
Okay, let's hear this.
You'll have a little bit better view of my thoughts on this game as I'm playing it.
Make sure the sound is turned up. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can get the sound turned up. Here we go.
The radio has been silent for years, although sometimes I think I can hear voices. I'm guessing I can't interact with this, but that'd be pretty cool. It appears like I have locked myself in this room. There's something in there. I don't really want to go in there, but I'm just gonna leave that shut. Oh, that's kind of cool. I appreciate these images that aren't really giving me any useful information, but they're kind of cool looking. Maybe there is useful information and I'm gonna regret not having read those. So I was kind of skeptical at first when I saw this was a top-down game, and I was like, how can a top-down game be that scary? I'm still kind of thinking that, but I'm getting a little bit more where they might be coming from. Hey. Okay, so I think I found the thing to... There we go. If there was something at that house that I was supposed to grab, we are not grabbing it. I don't have any skills to use yet. How do I do that? Do I have to just click and drag it? I feel like this is one of those things that it took me about 17 minutes to figure out how to leave the house. I think the graphics on this are really gorgeous. I honestly was skeptical at first, but I've totally changed my opinion on it, and I need to go fill up my generator. But it's already nighttime. Okay, YOLO. Oh. I hear sound. I think there's a non-zero chance that I'm about to be attacked in this house. I hear walking. Oh no. Oh no, I didn't open that. I didn't open that. I hate this. I hate this so much. Maybe I can just... Nope, I don't have any... Oh, no, I don't have enough to make a torch. I think I'm just doomed to huddle in this house. See, I don't trust that. I'll say this, the feeling that I have right now in this game is dread. Dread of moving, dread of doing anything. I feel okay standing here, but I kind of just want to make it through the night at this point, but I don't know what constitutes making it through the night. And the atmospheric sounds are really contributing to, like, I don't know if this is a positive sound or not. Oh,
That was a great ending. That was hilarious.
I cannot describe because that game, it's not constant jump scares. It just builds you up and it gets you into this headspace by the end of that night that you're just ready to crack at anything that happens.
I could hear you. I could hear you start to talk to yourself and psych yourself out. It was hilarious. It's amazing.
I loved it. I loved it. Oh my gosh, great edit too, by the way. I love it.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So now, is this game on PC only, or is it PC? Where is this game?
So I found it on Steam on PC, but the trailer you showed makes it appear like it might be on PlayStation.
I saw PlayStation 4, which means I can play it.
So I highly recommend it. If you're into like survival horror, then this perfectly sits in that genre, and it's good. I don't know if you heard the sounds, but the sound design in this game, they gave so much love to. Like, they really did a good job.
That's what really got me. I mean, I was able to watch some of the sounds in this, and see some of what you had played, and that's really what got me too. I mean, I thought the sounds were extremely good. Again, it's called Darkwood.
Darkwood. So yeah, it's scrolling around the bottom right here, and
Darkwood. Okay.
I think on the scariness factor, I'd maybe put it like one notch below Phasmophobia, and then the gameplay factor, I'd say was like 7 out of 10 for how the game felt when you played it. The combat, it was a little clunky. I couldn't figure it out, but maybe I'm just really bad. I was killed by dogs in another part of that night. So
that's unfortunate.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But I there's this part of me saying that is you deserved it after you killed me last week.
Oh.
After she killed me last
after the
week.
betrayal.
After betrayal, yes.
And I do want to give a plug. I'm doing this every week. I'm going to be playing a new horror game every week. So I'm going to just sit down. We're going to go through it. We're going to see if it's good. And
I'm excited.
You can catch me here at my handle right here. But all of it's going to be shown on this show. So come and join.
Yeah, you know what I'm excited about when we actually all play a game together. We were thinking about possibly us playing a whole, hour of a horror game and getting our true reactions here, unedited. Unfortunately, we have to really. That's going to be quite. That's going to be quite a challenge.
We need a lot of beeps going on. It's going to be live.
I don't think we're going to have the beeps when we're playing live, so that might be a mature rated show.
You have to catch yourself. Exactly. All right. Thank you, Annabelle. I'm so excited that you've decided to go on and take this up. And obviously, you have a large collection of scary games. I'd like to suggest one for you, if possible. It's called Fatal Frame 2 in particular. I'd love to you to get into that game. One of the most scariest games I've ever played in my life.
I'll take a look, and maybe we can get it added to the calendar.
All right. Yay. Well, let's move on. We do have some news that we want to get to this evening before we end the evening. And of course, this is my segment. So let's go to the Tingling Tea news. So let me tell you, I don't know if you all know about this, but The Sims, which everybody knows what Sims has been around for a really long time, is introducing a new paranormal stuff pack.
What?
Yes.
I might have to get back into The Sims after this.
Exactly. Who knew? So apparently they have this new stuff pack that they're doing for Sims 4 where you can actually change your career and be a paranormal investigator, a psychic, whatever.
Yes.
And I looked at this and I was just like, what is this? Obviously a lot of people are going to be getting this. But apparently you're the main character, or you as the main character, depending on who you've created as your avatar, is going to be someone who actually, the first thing I thought about when I saw this picture was Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost. That's the first thing I thought about. Her.
I see it.
Yeah, but I can see this. So I actually have a trailer of this, so you all can see this. But this I think is coming out on January the 25th. So let's see if we can watch the trailer.
That's 10 days from now.
Yeah. Let me see if we can watch the trailer.
The amount of hours I wasted playing The Sims, my God.
I've never played The Sims.
I
haven't either.
Out, man. You're missing out.
Listen, a friend of mine who never video gamed whatsoever, I told him that it was, I said, hey, why don't you just slowly introduce yourself into gaming and get The Sims? I mean, what harm could that be?
Sure.
His wife is going to divorce him because he's on The Sims every day.
Oh yeah, The Sims is very
It's
addictive.
addictive.
I had
Very
to get
addictive.
rid of it. I think for my relationship as well.
All right, let's watch this video.
I want that soundtrack.
Oh my god. You're muted, Les.
Yeah. So basically, that's what you're doing. The whole thing is you. You get all these new clothes, you get everything. Now, I am sure that a lot of my Christian friends are like to this game because, you know, you host seances and stuff like that. But it looks like to me, she's got some kind of little gimmick going on the side where she has people coming in. She's not actually what she appears to be doing, especially during the seance where she's doing her eye like this, trying to see if they're really, you know, into it. But
She's a
essentially,
small business owner trying to make her way without a tax advantage from the government.
if that's how you put it. And she's on 45th and 6th. You can just walk right up. Yeah, and go get your palm read or whatever. Yeah, so it seems to be very interesting. It's after all of these years, I am very surprised that they are introducing this component into The Sims. But I guess this is the time of the world that we live in where this kind of content is heightened, you know, and so it looks very interesting. And I might buy The Sims just to see this feature of it.
It kind of makes me curious about playing it too.
Yeah, it's very colorful. It looks like Ghostbusters to me in a way.
Oh, I would definitely. Oh yeah, definitely Ghostbusters. I would definitely play The Sims again. Definitely. I have a confession to make.
That is.
So get out your tea. So when I was, this was back when The Sims first came out. There was an illegal add-on that you could put in that made them all naked. And I couldn't uninstall it. I couldn't figure out how to uninstall it. So
that's what you get.
So
that's what you
get.
told everybody.
For years, my Sims were naked. It was hilarious.
I can't figure out how to uninstall it. Sorry, everybody.
That was the end of your relationship. I'm sure.
I had some explaining to do, let me tell you.
Yeah, you sure did, Lucy. Well, so this comes out on January the 25th. If you're interested in getting it, and if you are in our audience and you do end up purchasing it, we're very interested to see what what your take is on this new feature of The Sims. You know, so hey, I love it already. It looks really good. Oh my God, so the next thing that I want to bring up in the news is Lizzie Borden's house is
in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, we all know about Lizzie Borden, and I don't know if you don't know who Lizzie Borden is. There's a song about Lizzie Borden that Lizzie Borden had an axe. She gave her mother 40 whacks, which she thought she had done. She had gave her father 41. She was probably one of the biggest and potential serial murderers in American history, and the case was never found out. They never solved this case. And she went on to live her life, became an old lady and everything like that, but they never could pin this murder on her. It was a terrible murder of her parents and her stepmother. So the house is actually for sale right now. From what I understand, it's on the market for $2 million. And I'm sure there are enthusiasts who want to buy this, probably use it as a tour feature or whatever like that for $2 million. Right. But of course, this brutal axe murder occurred there. And I heard that there's stains in the carpet that they can't even get out of the carpet because, some weird stuff. It's just very strange stuff in there. If you've seen any of the paranormal investigations that have occurred around this house, there is something very strange and haunting there. Disembodied voices, strange feelings, blood that doesn't come out of the carpet. No, absolutely not.
If I was an eccentric billionaire, I think I would buy it.
Yeah.
It's a lovely house. I actually went there.
You've been there?
I've been to the Lizzie Borden house. I went on a tour of it. I was standing in the room where the wax happened, and it was a lovely house.
So it's like you went to an open house pretty much.
Yeah, they kept it beautifully.
Everything is the same way. Everything is the same way. They never change
the same furniture. It's the same rugs. It's the same everything. I didn't see the stains in the rugs, but of course that doesn't mean it's not there. I just didn't see it. But they did their best to make it spooky, and it was spooky. It was creepy to walk in the house. They actually made a TV series about Lizzie Borden about 5 years ago or so. So she's certainly a person in history that has a place in haunted history.
I got one better than that. Do you remember when Elizabeth Montgomery played Lizzie Borden in a made-for-TV movie?
I don't.
Yes, she did.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Our own Bewitched played Lizzie Borden in a movie many, many years ago, and I believe this was in the 70s. Yes, she did.
Wow. This is what the internet is for.
Yeah,
I am on it.
So y'all try to find it, but I do recall watching that one night. Well, anyway, the house was built in 1892, so of course it's a turn of the century type of home. It has that kind of feature. I'm sure it has like an old well that they haven't filled up yet or anything like that. If they kept everything in pristine condition, just the way it was at the time of the murders. But yep, the house is for sale for $2 million.
I'd like to see HGTV buy it and bring back the family members of Lizzie Borden to redo it.
Now that's good content.
Just throwing it out there.
We're going to make an open floor plan.
Obviously, they don't want to because they put it on the market to sell it. So they don't want to do. They don't want to have to do anything with it. But if you're out in the audience right now, let us know if you would buy the Lizzie Borden house for $2 billion.
$2 million. If you won the Mega Millions, the Mega Million jackpot, would you spend $2 million of that Mega Million jackpot on this?
Oh, I don't know.
There's probably a lot dumber things I would buy first if I was going to go that route.
Well, let me move on to our next story. And this is kind of interesting and strange, but only this can happen in New York City. So apparently in Rego Park, squirrels are attacking people in Rego Park. So there's a lady that got bit up by a squirrel.
What?
That's haunted right there. Everything else we've seen before now, I have lived as a skeptic.
Yes.
That's haunted.
Except the attacking squirrels of Rego Park.
Attacking squirrels. So apparently this is him climbing on her door trying to get after her.
Is that blood? What?
Yeah, it's a blood. He bit her finger.
Hey, look at that. Look at that guy.
Let me tell you a really funny story before I go in and show you actual news footage of this. When I lived in Kew Gardens, I would, go up the street all the time, and I would buy walnuts. I have a habit every year of making Toll House cookies, and so I was buying some walnuts to make some Toll House cookies. And while I was walking on the street, the squirrels here are very docile and they're very intelligent. They're extremely intelligent in New York City. So I don't know what made me or possessed me to get a walnut out and give it to the squirrel to eat. So the squirrel came up to me and was taking the walnut from me, eating and everything. And we were having this moment. And I guess he got really excited about eating the walnuts, and he actually bit my finger instead. He thought that my finger was the walnut. And I yelped so loud because they have such sharp little teeth. the blood was gushing everywhere. And he knew that he bit me and he was like terrified. He was like, he ran away because he knew that he had bit me. Now, the interesting thing that I found out is I thought I would have to get a rabies shot, but squirrels do not have rabies, you all. New York squirrels don't have rabies.
But they have bad attitudes.
They have bad attitudes.
attitudes.
And they have sentience because 100% that squirrel knew what he was going to do before he bit your finger.
He didn't know that he was going to do it. He just got excited that I was giving him walnuts. I mean, how often does he get really good walnuts?
I think you fell for it.
He wooed me. He wooed me into it. Me, the animal whisperer. He wooed me into it. But actually, I wanted to show you all the news footage of this squirrel biting this lady right here. And the interesting thing about this is the lady that claimed that she got bit. Somehow, some way, I just think this story, because the squirrel can't talk, there's two sides to this story. So let's just watch the news footage.
I love some crazy news footage. On Pix 11, no less.
I know, on Pix 11, nonetheless.
My favorite local New York City news channel.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
There
I watched it too.
Wait a minute, what happened to the ad? All right, let's see if this works.
Are we having technical difficulties?
I think we are. I don't know what happened to. Let me just go back out of this for a second, you all. Give me a moment, because my screen is frozen.
We could ad-lib it. Maybe Les could be the lady and Annabelle could be the squirrel.
I mean, I'm ready to ad-lib it because it's a totally fabricated story.
You think so? I don't think so.
I think this woman might have just wanted a money moment.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's.
What is she going to get money from a squirrel?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
The Parks Department.
Yeah, at least 5 people have either been bitten or scratched by those rodents on 65th Road and 65th Drive. It happened within the last month, according to the residents. Now, one woman even had to go to the hospital after a squirrel attack left her covered in bites.
And, I have a bite over here, so I think he probably bit me there, and then I just reacted and may have tried to grab him or tried to scare him, and next thing I know, it's an MMA cage match, and I'm losing because I am covered with blood. He is latched onto my finger. He won't let go, and it got ugly.
Wow, yeah, I would say, right? Residents say they have complained about the squirrels to 311, but an operator told them they would have to deal with the issue themselves. According to reports, the Department of Health says the squirrels are rarely infected with rabies.
See, that's a horror movie right there. You're in it for yourself. No one's there to help you. You got to take care of the squirrel problem yourself. It's up to
MMA cage match.
In a cage match.
Listen to the terminology that she used. What is she doing watching MMA? So anyway, exactly.
I think I heard that she was trying to intimidate the squirrel in her little explanation. She tried to intimidate the squirrel, and the squirrel was like, "No."
That's why I told you
better watch this.
There's two sides to this story because honestly, these squirrels don't bother you unless you're doing something to them. So, and they notice what you said that she said that they rarely have rabies. They never have rabies. I was told when I went there and got this big tetanus shot, I had to get a tetanus shot, believe it or not, with a big long needle about this big. They said they do not have rabies. That's what do you call it, misnomer, whatever the word it is, that most people think that that's the case, but squirrels.
Yeah, misnomer. Absolutely.
Misnomer, yeah. So anyway, let's move on real quick.
That's my favorite story so far. Squirrel lady of Rego Park.
Poor lady. I just want to look at her one more time. Because I just knew there was something about her that just made me know that she did something to the squirrel. She did something to it. Just the way she's dressed in her front yard. It just was just
here. And she's like, I got a bite right here earlier. And I'm like,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
that was already cleared up.
This was not a battle. This is a war.
I don't know. I just think it's very strange. I just don't know. She did something. But anyway, I want to move forward. and a haunted squirrel.
I
So the
concur.
thing about what now is that there is a man in Japan right now that wants to buy your face. So what it is this man is creating these creepily realistic masks, and he wants people to opt in to give their face so that he could create this. Now, the purpose of these masks are not to prevent you from getting COVID. That's not what they are. But obviously, there's some deviousness behind it because the creep factor is huge behind this. But if you believe that they're so realistic that you could put this on, and I think that if you had the right garments on or something like that, somebody would actually believe that you are somebody else. This man is 30 years old. His name is Shuhei Okawara, and he aims to create a new mask culture where people can go out and wear masks wherever they want. It's sized at 105% of the actual size of the face. And it is just the creepiest thing I've ever seen. So I actually have some footage of this, of him actually modeling the mask. Let me see if I can show you all that.
This is creepy.
Here we go.
Creepy, creepy. I like that there's no sound. It's just like him walking.
The music in the background.
Wow.
This is the making of a horror film, a Japanese horror film. Most definitely.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Thank you, MBOA, for letting us see that footage.
I'm a theater geek, and it reminds me of Japanese Noh theater, N-O-H theater.
Yes.
Because they have masks. Every performer has certain masks, and the masks mean certain things. And it definitely is the same size. It definitely has sort of, very stoic kind of face that you can put whatever you believe on that mask. You know what I mean? You can do something angry, or you can do something happy, or whatever you want to put. It's just sort of very stoic. So it's a fascinating thing. I wonder why people would do this. I don't know.
Well, obviously, I mean, if you can't figure out why somebody would do it, the only thing that I could say is to go into a darker meaning behind why they would want to have a mask like that. It's just creepy. Like, and if you have that hanging up on your wall, something looking at you like that, oh no, thank you. I don't know why you're doing that, but people are actually buying it. They're purchasing it. So. Really? Yeah, the people are purchasing. Did you see the one with the woman right there? She purchased that where she's got his face.
Oh, that's her. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
I want to purchase Les's face so I can wear it next week.
I'll purchase Annabelle's face. And we'll switch up each other's segment.
You all are so crazy. So we definitely need to end, of course, our show. But as always, we always end our show highlighting someone who is missing. And this evening, we are highlighting, just pull her up, Christine Marie Easton. She's missing. So from what the paperwork says about her, the FBI says about Christine, is that she was born on January the 4th, 1952. She has been missing for some time now. She's got blonde hair, blue eyes. She's 5'7" when she disappeared, 130 pounds, female, and of course, Caucasian. She went missing from Hayward, California on January the 18th, 1971. She left her home at 10 p.m. to go to the car wash and then pick up her friend at the local Jack in the Box restaurant. She never arrived to pick up her friend. The vehicle she drove was found at a car wash located at 25400 Mission Boulevard in Hayward. Her purse was locked inside the vehicle. Christine was last seen wearing a black-brown leather coat, black boots, blue slacks, a red, white, and blue pinstripe tunic, and a bluish gold scarf. If you have any information concerning this case, please contact the Hayward Police Department at 510-293-7176, your local FBI office, or your nearest American embassy if she is out of the country. The field office is in San Francisco. As always, we want to extend our deepest prayers and thoughts to family members who are missing someone, a loved one, an aunt, a sister, a mom. We can't imagine what it would be like to be without this person, to not have holidays with this person, to always wonder where this person is, if they are in need of you, and if they're also seeking you. So we ask that even if you do know the whereabouts of this person, or you know any information concerning her, we ask that you please, please, please contact somebody and let them know. You can do it anonymously, but you're doing it a service. Just imagine not having somebody that you love in your life being around for you. With that, we want to go ahead and end our evening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back here next Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. If you are watching on Wednesday night, Annabelle, can you just let the audience know?
Twitch.tv/Annabelle_Chimpton.
All right.
It's at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. And Eddie, where can we find you this week?
Well, you can find me on Instagram all the time, and my handle's right there. And I will be working on our wonderful YouTube channel this week. So be sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like us and subscribe to us. And if you can, hit the little bell button so every time that we post new content, you can get a little notification.
Thank you. And you can catch me here, of course, on Friday nights here with my Tingling Tea host, Annabelle and Augie Eddie Peterson. And also on Wednesday nights, I will be producing the show Indigenous Peoples, Winter Night Wolf Productions, Indigenous Peoples. Oh, Lord. That just totally slipped out of my mind. It's on our Cliff Dive channel, so please go to our Cliff Dive channel because everything.
It's really good. I've seen it many times. It's a great show. Whatever it's called, we love it.
Indigenous Peoples Media. Sorry, I had a moment. Indigenous Peoples Media, where we talk about issues concerning the Native American community and people of Indigenous heritage. On Saturdays, I'm with the Bit and Apple TV at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, talking to people that are in the con scene, geek world, artists, independent artists, comic writers. And then Saturday evening, I do a show with my dad called Into the Fry Zone, where we talk about things from the past, in particular music. And that's it. Busy, busy, busy. We'll be back next week. Once again, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you then. Have a good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.